And we're live, back with the Hot Dog Radio Show.
Episode 16, dude. It's what a time to be alive. It's like 70 degrees here in Northern California, so it's pretty nice.
That sounds nice. It's actually not too far off here. We got a little bit of a sunny day. It's 60 degrees outside right now.
Dope, dude.
Yeah, we're gaining on you guys. We're gaining on you.
Yeah. You ever done Tai Chi before?
No, I don't think so.
You want to do some?
Sure, I'm done. I don't know if my my wire. Oh yeah, it does. It does. My camera's not very well fitted for this, but I can kind of like. I can
still
kind of do it.
Can you still see me?
I can see you. Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do in Tai Chi is like do a little bit of philosophy, talking about Tai Chi.
Okay.
So I guess you could sit down for this part.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you think of when you think Tai Chi?
From what I know, just off the top of my head, I kind of think
Wrong.
about. Oh. You're not supposed to think off the top of your head.
Oh no, you're gonna say something that was wrong. But go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's a thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a thing, it's a practice.
It's a practice. Oh. Could a practice be a thing though? No? Oh.
But seriously, go ahead. I'll stay quiet.
It's a practice that focuses on philosophical. Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah. So it was a trick question because when we talk about Tai Chi, we're really not talking about Tai Chi, okay? Because we have not translated from Chinese properly. So Tai in Chinese, Tai, means like grand or like supreme, like giant, very expansive. And the second word is not chi, chi, but it's actually ji, pronounced G.
G.
Like the letter G. So it's Tai Ji.
Okay.
Can you say Tai Ji?
Tai Chi.
Yes. Okay. So we're doing Tai Chi. So as I said, Tai means grand or supreme, and Ji means like pole or extreme. So what Tai Chi really means is grand extreme, which is kind of weird, right? But it's really kind of just it's studying the extreme of like understanding the practice of movement, the practice of breath, and it's really like about refinement and like being incredibly sensitive to basically the breath and how that affects like our movement. So when you take a deep breath, can you tell me which direction that the lungs are moving in?
Okay. Let's see. See, I would have never thought about this. I would say, if I had to, I would say up, because like, your breath is expanding, but it's either this way or inwards. Is that what you're saying? Like either it's going.
No, I'm just asking you. So when you say up, do you really mean forward?
Well, I guess more so that's like it's expanding, but I would always think like its largest push direction would be upwards for some reason.
But this is forwards. This is not upwards.
Oh, okay. You don't mean. Oh yeah, I guess upwards would be that way. Would be
It would
up.
be like this.
I guess
Yeah.
I don't know why I was imagining someone laying down and breathing. Okay, yeah. So then forwards, I guess, is what I normally think of because it expands.
Okay, so try it like this, where you put your hands like on the sides of your ribs.
Okay.
Okay, and then take a deep breath. Okay, what do you notice? Try to take a deep breath to move those hands to the side, like outward.
Okay. Okay. I feel a little bit. I feel a little bit of expansion out this way,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, just a little bit. It's almost hard to notice, but I can tell there's a little bit of push out that way.
Okay, so what that really is that when you're taking a deep breath, your ribs actually are is not like a cage. It's actually like bunch of individual like fingers that hold your torso. So when you breathe, those fingers are kind of spreading out and moving apart. And so the lungs definitely move frontwards, right? And we've discovered that it moves to the side. Now, see if you put one hand on the front and one on the back, if you can make the hand on the back move with the breath.
Maybe it's easier this way. Not as much, but I
You
think
don't
a
feel
little
it.
bit.
You don't feel it at all.
Like barely. Like a little bit. I feel a little bit of a push. It's not very
Okay,
strong.
so the lungs come all the way down here into the middle of your back.
Okay,
So
maybe I'm filling up
it
too high.
well, so the thing is like there's the capacity, right, for what you can breathe, and then like what there's your usual breathing. Um, so how about this? Try this. So like you see like the way you're sitting in that chair.
Hmm?
I want you to like tuck your hips under like this, and then tuck them back, and kind of like find like the range of motion that you can find just moving the hips,
Oh,
like
okay.
as far forward as you can move them. So it's kind of like you're rounding your back,
I'm
and
kind of
then like
confined, but
you're confined by what?
because the mic, I end up hitting the mic, but I'm
No,
just
no,
trying
you're
to
not
scooch
supposed.
back.
You're not supposed to move your head. It's just the hips.
It's just the hips. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just tucking the hips, like tucking the tailbone.
I think I need to stand up for this because in the chair it's kind of difficult. So it's
Well, this is just a practice.
okay.
So go far, like if you had a tail, like sticking out your tail,
Okay.
okay, and then like this, like maybe tucking your tail,
Okay.
okay, and you're really not moving your head at all. So this is like the range of motion for your hips, okay. So find your range of motion and then go right in the middle of that, okay.
I don't think it's
Just
very
like,
easily seeable. I'm wearing baggy clothes.
well, it's not about what that you can see; it's about what you're feeling.
Okay. I think I'm feeling it.
Okay, so now do that same movement, but now sitting in the chair.
Okay. Cause now my hips are like now my hips are bent.
It looks like you're sitting up more straight in your chair.
I'm trying to make
Okay.
it more like to make it easier to do.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point is that this is like the proper way to sit in the chair.
Oh,
So,
okay. Oh.
so check this out. So from that seating position, now see with your hands on the sides of your ribs, can you take a wider breath now that you're in a different sitting position?
Yeah. Hmm.
You can?
Yeah. There's a little bit more in there. Yeah. I think
Isn't that
so.
crazy? Just depending on how you sit, like you can breathe better, right?
Yeah. That is interesting. This is like I've been trying to work on posture for like a long time. I always like, because like everyone knows it's more like comfortable when you're just like
Hmm.
chillaxing back to actually put in the effort.
But the thing is, the question is, um, why do we want to take deeper breaths?
Because it kind of it feels good. I don't know. It feels like more air is usually good. I guess to a point, you know. You can have too
It
much.
feels. You're saying it feels better.
Yeah, I think so. There's like you can feel your lungs working at a larger capacity. Yeah, it's not bad.
Wait, is it like the placebo effect or something, or is it like it just feels better to move more? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's
Okay.
just like I feel like up to a certain point, your lungs taking in more air is always good. Yeah,
Okay.
I would
Okay.
say it can't like yeah it can't be bad unless it's too much.
Okay. I can't argue that. So now let's do a little experiment. So you're sitting up like that, right?
Hmm?
Now I want you to stay seated like this, but now really tuck your hips down and kind of round your back. Still sitting on your butt instead of leaning back in the chair, but really tuck the hip and the tailbones and round your back.
I think I'm doing it.
Okay. Well, usually when I do it, my shoulders kind of round down too.
Okay. It feels like
Okay.
okay, yeah. There's definitely like an arch in my back now around. Is that what you're looking
Okay.
for? And then
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, there's a
Okay.
little bit forward. Yeah.
Now do the side breathing, and see where you're at with this.
Oh yeah, there's less coming in there.
Way less,
But
right?
this is uncomfortable. Like this is like I'm assuming it's like this is like an extreme version of me slouching in my chair like this.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
the extreme version of that is the yeah, now I want to like yeah, that feels bad. That actually
Okay.
feels bad. That's
Check
not
this
good.
out now, Jesse. So we're like this, right? We don't like it, and we were in like remember we did back and forth, and we found the middle, and then we sat down. Go too far back and really straighten out your neck, like military neck.
All right.
Okay. Now do it.
It's not as bad, but it's still there's still something not quite right about. Yeah, there's still some. Yeah, it's not as much, but it's not as bad. I would rather be like this than be like this, but this is like, yeah, it's still not the same. It's still not max capacity.
Okay. So check this out. So remember I said that the rib cage isn't a cage. It's more like what?
It's like a flexible fingers.
Okay, it's like little tiny little thingies. So when they are in fingers mode instead of cage mode, you're actually able to twist your torso, and the spaces in between the ribs will actually move. Okay, so first find like the happy medium with the hips, right? Do your side breath and find like a good position.
No, I'm like imagining it now. I'm imagining it everywhere. Like it's not max capacity.
Okay, so just tell me when you got there.
Okay, that's good. That's yeah. I think that's it.
Okay,
I
so
think
now
that's it.
relax your hands, and keep your legs in the same. Relax your hands, just to your sides. Now I want you to just try to like turn and just turn your torso and your upper body and your neck to face the wall behind you. Okay, and see how much range of motion you have. Okay, come back to center. Go to the other way. Okay.
All right.
Now I want you to do a military neck and really. This is called scaredy cat position when you like do your tailbone out behind you, right?
Yeah.
Scaredy cat position. Okay, now go ahead and do the turn from this
With like
position.
the back arched back.
Yeah, yeah, the arch back
Okay, okay.
and the straight neck.
Oh yeah. I can't go as far back. It's mostly my head that's moving.
Yeah.
My yeah.
So your rib cage turned into a rib cage when you did that.
Yeah, it's stiffened. I guess like uh is it has more flexibility when it's actually vertical rather than when it's arched in some other position. It doesn't have as much flexibility.
Okay. So now do this one.
Yeah, this one I hate this one. This one like just like makes me feel bad. Like this one
Try to
is
do
like
try to do the turn, dude.
that one's even worse. Like even for breathing, everything's bad about the arched back. Everything is bad. If I had to choose between having this back and having this back, I'd take this back all day. I just take this back. It sucks that like that's like the trend for a lot of people. They end up like this, and no one can just choose like I'll take this. Like give me this one instead. No one can take the opposite direction.
Okay, so do you want to know some tips to go from caved in back to a balanced seat position?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we've kind of already did the first one, right? Where you do the tailbone back and forwards and you find the middle. Okay, that one's easy. That one's called finding your seat. Okay, because you have these two little sit bones and you can feel for them in your butt. It's like there's some like bony parts on your butt and it's called the sits bones. It's actually called the ischium. It's part of the pelvic bone. You have the pubic bone on the front. Then you have like the ilium, which is like the wings. Can you feel the wings of your pelvis? Like if you go into like the sides right here and then you kind of push in, there's meaty part and you keep moving your hand down towards your feet until you hit like a bone there.
Mm, how high? It's low. It's lower down, right? I think I feel them.
Yeah. It should be like a crest right here. Just it goes all the way across.
Oh, what if I'm just fat?
No, you're not. You can feel everyone can feel it. Fat doesn't really accumulate over these bones.
Oh,
Dude, it should be pretty easy to find these bones.
I. Okay, I think I found it. I think I found it. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Okay. I think that's what that is.
Okay, so that's called your ilium, okay?
Okay.
That's one of the three components of the hip bone. So you have the ilium, which
Mhm.
comes around in the front. This is called the pubic bone.
Pubic bone.
It's like where the two parts of the pelvis come together, and there's like this jelly goo that kind of holds it together, and it's kind of flexible. So the two sides of your hips can kind of like rotate a little bit. On the back side, it comes down, and there's the sits bones, and really the sits bones are meant for you to sit on. And so the whole idea is when you're rocking back and forth is to have like be firmly rooted on like a bone down there.
Okay. Wait. Wait. What if somebody has like? What if someone's thick? What do?
It's this
What do they do?
the position still is the same.
Oh.
They just have more cushion.
Okay. I'm trying to
Did you
see if
did you
I'm like.
see
Yeah, I'm
can you
sitting on
see
a
that I'm
bone
sharing my
really.
screen?
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. It'd be nice if we could get it to the audience could see a little bit better, but
Oh, they can't see?
yeah, no, because this setup is kind of is a little bit janky. So we're kind of like messed up. They can kind of see us. They
Yeah.
can barely see the screen though. It's not really fitting. But
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna show you this because
all right.
it's important. Okay. Let's see. Dude, I mean learning human anatomy is just so crazy. So let's see. Um let's do this one. Okay, are you seeing this wing looking thing
Yeah,
right here?
yeah.
Okay, so
Wait,
this
can you
is
try to full screen it? Because maybe then it will show up in the other monitor. Because like the bottom portion of the screen is showing up, just not the whole thing.
is this any better?
Yeah. Actually, I think yep, that's showing up actually a little bit. Yeah,
Okay.
the red portions are especially. That's good.
Okay, you can see this.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so this is the view from the back of the body. Okay, so you know how you have a tailbone? Have you heard of that?
yeah.
Okay, so you can find your tailbone, and this is the tailbone right here. Okay, this is called the coccyx. Above the coccyx, you have a thing called the sacrum. Okay, and directly above the sacrum would be like all of your spinal vertebrae. Okay, are you following?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, these ridges are the things that we just found on the sides of our bodies. You
Okay.
know, I was calling it a crest or a wing. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we're sitting on. This is called the ischium. Okay, so this is called our sits bones, and like a lot of our, like our hamstring muscles come and connect to the bottom of this thing. So anyway, the anatomy is just there to help you to recognize that like when you're when you're sitting on this solid structure down here, it's creating a really strong foundation because you have this entire like uh bony structure that allows you to like have like a solid thing that you're sitting on. So these bones down here are connected to directly to your spine through the coccyx and the sacrum. Okay, so that's pretty much all I wanted to share. You have the bones down there. We're finding the bones, finding setting the seat. Okay, so
Okay.
that was the first of the three keys.
And what bone specifically are you looking to like line up when you're sitting down? What's your like
Well, you should be pretty close, but it's the ischium bones. It's not like the tailbone or anything like that. So
okay.
when you do back all the way and you do front all the way,
Mm-hmm.
remember we're tucking the hips. If you go right in the middle, you're going to be really really close, and then you can just do a little adjustments and just see how it feels.
All right. Cuz I think like when I try to straighten out my back, I have a tendency to arch my back.
Mhm.
I'll do that in the car sometimes because the seat is already like I don't like to have the seat too far away cuz then I feel like sometimes I'm leaning forward, so like I put my seat so that I pretty much have to be upright whenever I sit, especially for
Mhm.
long rides cuz like having a sore back sucks. But then I'll notice that like sometimes on long rides I start to like tense up and I start to just like arch my back.
That's called the scaredy cat position.
Damn. I'm a
You mean
scaredy
this?
cat
You mean
driver.
this? You mean like this? Arch your back?
Yeah, yeah. Or like
Yeah.
if I've been sitting for a long time and then I notice that I start to arch, I notice that my recorrection is always this. It's always like to arch my back. And then I'll
Wait, so
notice that I'm
what do
not
you
sitting up perfectly
you just
straight.
said you were arching your back and then you arch your back to recorrect. So use different words.
I think it depends. So I think like whenever like I think like I'm starting to hunch over,
Mhm.
like even in the car, and then I'll start to like get that feeling. You get like that back kind of like, you can feel it in your back. I start to do this instead, but I think it just has the same effect of also making me feel like sore in the other direction. And especially in
Mhm.
the car, I'll notice like I won't even notice that I've done it, that I've like shifted to this point as a recorrection, and then I'm just sore because I've been doing that for the past hour.
Okay. So this is I'll skip to this one cuz this is directly related. So, I'm just going to read this, I think. Um okay. This says lengthen your spine to better align your brainstem with the base of your skull. Okay? So the brainstem is the oldest part of our brains, and it is like the ancient lizard brain, as some people call it. Okay, so it's like we developed from species that had smaller types of brain and less complicated brain structures, right? That makes sense. So like the rest of our like cognitive brain and stuff, that's all like up here in the prefrontal cortex and stuff. But like the old brain here that has like that kind of controls all of like the animalistic sort of impulses, but also like the basic like functions of our body. Like, because let's say like a lizard, right? Like imagine like a little gecko. If it has a heart, its brain still has to be able to pump the heart, right? And if it breathes oxygen, it still has to breathe. So all those mechanisms are a part of the brain stem as opposed to like the cognitive functioning part, right? So if we want to have like healthy breathing and a healthy heart and a healthy organ function, it's good to align that part of our brain, right? That would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's back here. That's the brainstem. So we're aligning the brainstem with the base of your skull. So like there's a proper way for your head to be positioned so that your brainstem sits in your brain and there's no strain on it. Okay. Ease. Uh. Da, 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 da. Okay, ease and space around the brain stem support fluid flow and oxygen flow to the brain. Alignment of the head and neck improves the brain to body communication. So there's all sorts of like nerve pathways and blood pathways that come through your skull at the base, at the top of your neck and the base of the skull. That if you create extra space in here, you're gonna have better communication. Okay. So the way we create more space is we imagine that your head is filled with a helium like a balloon. Okay. So just imagine like your whole head, there's nothing inside of it except for helium and it becomes super light. Now feel your head gently floating upward like a helium balloon. If it feels helpful, use your hands to gently guide your neck, easing it upward away from your shoulders. Feel your spine lengthening. Imagine your head filling with helium on inhalation and feel your body relaxing on exhalation.
Okay, let's see. I think I'm doing it. Let's see. Like, what is it supposed to be? Like just as straight as possible. What's like the?
It's so
'Cause I
okay.
think I
So
have it,
like,
but I don't know.
well, it's a practice, and so the thing that I always think about isn't about like the neck being like straight or bent, because balloons don't move forward and backwards, right? It's literally like the head is just moving straight up.
Okay.
Like just imagine pushing your head straight up. It's kind of a weird feeling. Um Gently discover more ease and space around the brainstem and base of skull. Okay, now imagine two helium balloons attached by strings to the top of your ears. The balloons are dancing in the wind. See if they help you create more ease. To simulate this feeling, you may use your fingers to gently lift your ears upward.
Hmm. I won't be able to hear you for a little bit, but
Yeah, just go
I'll,
ahead and do it.
ow. You just got to be careful to not pinch too hard, or else it's light attachments. It's not as if like something like came and clamped down
Yeah,
onto your ears and started dragging you away. But
they're not clothespins.
no.
Okay, so what was that experience like?
Um, I could notice it a little bit. I think it's weird because like that having the headphones here, I don't know if that messes with it at all. Um, I noticed like the imagining my head was attached to a balloon. I could easily that was easier for me. The ear one was a little bit more
Oh,
difficult.
okay. Do the head one again.
Okay.
Imagine your head is filled with a helium-like balloon. Now feel your head gently floating upward like a helium balloon. If it feels helpful, use your hands to gently guide your neck, easing it upward away from your shoulders. Feel your spine lengthening. Imagine your head filling with helium on inhalation and feel your body relaxing on exhalation. Gently discover more ease and space around your brainstem and base of your skull.
I gotta check if I'm not arching my back. I think sometimes I.
Well, this is just the neck right now, so we're
Okay,
not.
okay.
We're just focused on one thing at a time. Okay. So now we're gonna play with this idea. So we were working at the top of the body, the very top. Now we're gonna work on the bottom. Okay. So
Yeah.
don't like slump or do anything else. But what we're gonna do now is we are going to connect to the earth. Okay. So like we have the 2 points right here on the ischiums, right? But we also have really good foundations in our feet. Okay. So we're going to connect, setting your seat. I don't see the one I'm looking for in here. Oh, witness and play. Anyway, this one's just like stomping your feet. So like a lot of times when we're sitting like in a chair, maybe we'll like tuck our feet underneath, or like we'll cross our legs, or like we'll rarely uh the natural the natural and strong way to sit is to have your feet firmly planted on the ground and with your seat set. Okay?
Mm.
So first set your seat again.
Okay.
Okay? And then if you start stomping your feet like alternatively and just
My setup's so bad for this. I don't actually. Okay, there we go. I think I have enough room for my feet because I don't even like keep enough room for my feet sometimes. Like when we're recording this, I have like this mic stand is like right in the direction of like where my foot is like arced on top of it. My chair isn't even right now. Like look what happens. My chair right now is like my feet are just like kind of like a little bit off the ground, right? Like
Oh,
putting it
really?
on, I have to lean forward to put both of my feet on the ground. But look, I can adjust it, right? You would be like, oh, it's good to adjust. You can adjust the seat, but then what
Okay.
happens is once you adjust the seat down, right? It'll start doing this, it's not doing it right now, of course, but eventually it'll do this. No, they're not. It's not like that. It's slow. It's like a slow.
Oh, it
Yeah,
has to be higher.
and
It's
then
gonna
all of
go
a sudden
down.
my knees are like arced now because like the perfect height for me is like the perfect height for me is like I'm afraid to mess with it too much because it does this to me all the time, but I'll try for the best for this video. But yeah, this is like this is the perfect height for me, but it'll slowly sink. I feel it doing it. It's going to be very slow and eventually I'll be down there. Let me just make sure that it just okay. No, see, because then the crazy thing is that its measurements of like sinking, it's never just right. Like,
Okay.
so
Well, just
wait.
go back.
This is
Just go back to the top. We'll skip this one.
no. I want to try this,
Okay. Okay.
and my feet just still aren't exactly firmly. Okay.
Okay.
Ah.
So taking it.
Okay. This is. Yeah. Okay. I think this is good. It's still a little bit up. It's still a little bit lightly off the ground, but I'm close. This is good. I can feel my feet
Okay.
firmly planted.
Okay. Take a moment to notice your neck. What position is your head in? If you are able, connect the bottom of your feet fully to the ground or floor beneath you. Feel your feet. Alternate plugging in or planting one foot and then the other. Feel the sensation in all the bones and muscles engaging and moving.
So stomp.
Yeah. So it's just like alternating with stepping or plugging in. Like you can imagine like it's like an electrical socket plugging in and unplugging on each foot.
Okay.
Notice what changes throughout the body when your feet are animated. Can you feel your core muscles activating? Does your eye gaze change? Does your head or neck change? What changes if you animate your feet before reaching for your phone or another object? Does the position of this object shift? Observe your body and breathe.
Oh, I didn't know I could stand up and do it.
You
That
could.
would have been better. But oh well, I adjusted my seat so that I could.
But your question was about sitting posture and like driving and stuff.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
So that's that one. We got brain balloon up, okay?
Mm,
Animate your feet and set your seat.
okay.
Okay? That's a killer recipe for I mean it's all to get your lungs, right? Well, that's where we started. Okay, just the last thing I want to show is just this diagram. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
Is it? Oh yeah, you can see it.
Want to
Okay,
know
so
what's the? Want to know the thing that gets me is that those two at the end, those are so similar. And that's what I
okay.
think the trouble is with the archback is that you can do the archback and you won't sometimes even know that you're doing it.
Well, that's why we get the skills with the feedback for like the breathing and especially for the twisting one. Remember how obvious it was for the twisting one?
Yeah.
If I'm up like this, dude, look at me. If I'm up in scaredy cat position, I can't turn. But if I'm down here, dude, I'm a twisting machine.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay? So you're right. They are pretty similar though. But what's the difference? Do you see the green line versus the red line on the pelvis?
Wait, the green line? Red line.
So this line right here and this line right here, these are different.
Okay,
So
I'm having trouble seeing the color, but
it all has to do with the position of the pelvis and setting the seat. That's the main difference of what's going to allow you to twist further and breathe sideways.
okay, okay. Let's see.
So anyway, dude, that was none of that was Tai Chi, by the way. We got sidetracked.
That's good though. That's those are not bad exercises.
Yeah. Okay. Well, because I guess the whole point was we started with Tai Chi, right, which was extreme. What is it? Oh, supreme extreme Tai Chi, and we were talking about the breath, right? So we got the breath goes sideways, the breath goes forward, but there's also look at what happens to my shoulders when I breathe in. So what happened?
Go up.
Okay, so sideways, front and back, up. What about down? Do the lungs go down?
I think yeah, I think so. Possibly. I don't know.
Well, just put your hands on your belly and make sure your seat is in the right position
Okay.
and breathe in, see if you can make your hands move.
I think they're moving. Yeah, they're moving a little bit.
Okay. So, which direction does the breath move?
The breath.
Yes,
I
the
would.
lungs.
I'd assume just like they just expand outwards, right? Is that like a
Yeah, you're
yeah?
telling me that the lungs expand in every direction?
No.
What are you saying?
I mean, I from what actually no. Yes, mostly expanded in every direction. I think.
What direction do they not move in?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm
So if you
assuming there's
don't,
some limit, right? There's like some
no.
limit of the lung.
The lungs go this way, they go this way, they go up, they go down. Remember? We did this. Breathing in.
Yeah, but there has to be like some directions where they expand out more towards, right? And they're blocked more so in some areas. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I think we get in nuance, then yes, it does. Um, but the whole idea is kind of to unlock the idea that it moves in all directions. Whereas, like, I think most people just think you breathe in, it goes down your nose, and then the breath goes down, right? And that's silly because a lot of the mechanisms in the body are reliant on the breath. It's not just for oxygen. It also like has a lot of effects on um, returning the deoxygenated blood back to the heart. So like a lot of that is through actually muscles moving is what's pumping the veins, the deoxygenated blood back. But if it's not muscular movement, then it's breathing. So really breathing like actually helps the circulation of the blood in your body, okay? And that is happening through a pressure mechanism, which is the lungs filling up and taking space in your abdomen where there's a lot of blood. It's like a pump, okay? It's called a respiratory pump. It has nothing to do with oxygen, okay? So it's important to know that the breathing feels better, you get more oxygen, but you're also helping with the circulation of your body and improving the function of all of your organs. So which way does the breath move?
And is this a separate answer from the lungs?
No, no, no. No,
Okay,
it's
then in
not.
all directions, I guess. In all
Okay, it moves
directions.
in all
Okay. Okay.
directions. So this will maybe require some deep thinking, but what causes the lungs to move?
Um, I That's a good question. See, I knew that lungs I knew that their like purpose was to oxygen like filter the blood, you know what I mean?
Add
Through your
oxygen to the
body and
blood.
add out, yeah, yeah. I which is why like you get like the blue, and then when you bleed it turns red once it like is exposed to oxygen. Is it just the air that is the mechanism that drives the movement of the lungs? Just like the well, no, that doesn't make any sense because the lungs take in air. You're not just
Hmm.
like it's the lungs contracting that has you doing this is the lungs actually taking in air.
Okay,
So is it
so it's a
just the brain?
it,
I guess does that, right? Like it would have to come back to your brain function.
yes. Good. Okay, so what part of the brain did we talk about?
You said it was like located in towards your spinal cord, right? Towards
Hmm.
the brainstem.
Brainstem. That's right.
Brainstem. Okay,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, brainstem.
so first off, great answer. Way to walk through it. Now check this out. The lungs actually don't contain any muscular structures at all. Okay. It's kind of just like this blobby sack with a bunch of tiny, tiny, tiny little like air pockets inside of it. Okay. But the lungs are attached to this giant, broad, flat muscle called the diaphragm. Have you heard of the diaphragm before?
Um. Yeah, I think so. Isn't that like it's down? Isn't it down here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Mm?
So it's shaped like an umbrella, and you can imagine that if I took this umbrella shape and I just moved it straight right like at the if you find the bottom of your ribs, find the bottom of your ribs. Do you feel those?
Yeah. Well,
If you
I think so.
I mean the
I feel the
bone.
bottom of my ribs definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you were to just like curl your fingers a little bit underneath, and it's safe to do this if you just relax your abdomen.
Okay.
If you just curl your fingers under just a little bit, you're feeling the border of the diaphragm muscle. Okay?
Mm. Okay.
So the diaphragm connects all the way, and you notice as you go down, your ribs actually drop down lower as you go to the sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So the diaphragm is touching all the way around your ribs. Okay?
Okay.
And that's why it's kind of like an umbrella muscle, because imagine it's going all the way around the ribs, but then it kind of creates this little dome inside of the ribs. Okay? Are you imagining that?
Yeah, yeah. I think I can imagine
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So here's the dome. What's beneath the dome?
Wait, the dome inside the ribs? Well, that would be where like the diaphragm would be, right? Is that
Okay,
what you're?
no, the diaphragm is the dome.
Okay.
Because the muscle attaches. Because you were feeling this, right?
Yeah.
So right on the inside of your ribs, like find your rib,
Yeah. I feel my
and
ribs.
then like curl your finger underneath the rib.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
I think so. Yeah.
So if you push not that hard, but push a little bit, and you might feel a little bit uncomfortable, you're literally touching the diaphragm muscle. Okay.
Okay. Wait, so you're saying what's underneath that though? Because that would just be like the stomach, or like you would have like
The stomach, and what else?
stomach. You have. Are you talking about more like bones or
No.
organs?
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So people say the stomach. That's silly to call the stomach. The stomach is an organ. Okay. You chew the food, it goes down your esophagus, and it goes into the stomach.
Oh, do you mean like small intestine or large intestine? Are
Yeah.
you looking for
All
okay
those
specific?
all those are down here,
Yeah.
and there's two other specific ones I'm looking for.
Um.
Specific. There's ones that are specifically touching the diaphragm. So we have the stomach.
All right. Let's see. And it's below it,
Mm-hmm.
specifically below it. I feel like
It's
there's a lot
it's
of
in
other
the
like
it's in the abdominal cavity.
it's in the
Okay.
abdominal cavity. Okay. I'm trying to think about.
Well, what can we rule out of being beneath the diaphragm?
Well, it's definitely not. I mean, but the lungs kind of like are. They don't go that far down, so not the lungs. Can't be the
Not the
heart.
lung.
Can't
Okay.
be. And these are just organs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you got it. You got it. Those are the two that it can't be. It can't be the heart and it can't be the lungs. Okay?
Yeah.
Because what we're talking about is the diaphragm connects to the bottom of the lungs. Remember, the lungs are just a sac with a bunch of kind of little air passages in it. The entire surface of the bottom part of the lungs is connected to the diaphragm. And when we breathe in, we're breathing in and the diaphragm contracts and it pulls down and it creates a vacuum inside of the lungs. And that's what sucks the air in through our nose or our mouth into the lungs. Okay, isn't that's kind of crazy? It's kind of like your body has this umbrella thing that can contract and suck the air into your body. Try this. Okay, take a deep breath all the way out and have your hands like in a dome.
Okay.
Okay, then breathe in and push your hands down. Okay, then breathe out. And that's what your diaphragm is doing when you're breathing. That motion right there.
Okay.
So the other one I was looking for, so we have the stomach, right? We have the stomach right in here. We have what's the giant one that can regenerate itself?
Are we thinking about the liver or
Yes. Yes, the liver.
liver?
Okay,
Okay.
the liver is sitting directly beneath the diaphragm. So every time you breathe, you're moving the liver, and actually the liver gets really happy when you do that. Okay? That's really nice. The other one sitting right next to the stomach is the spleen.
All right. I just imagined. I don't know when you said like the liver gets really happy when you do that. I just I just imagine Yeah.
It's
I don't know. I don't know what
like a little it's like
that.
a liver party. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. And the last one is the spleen, okay? And I kind of ended with the spleen because the in Chinese medicine, the spleen is in charge of intention. So what does intention mean?
Um, it's like what you're trying to do. It's like a not necessarily purpose, but in a more direct way. I would say purpose, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, it definitely that's what it is. So the intention so what happens if you have your intention to um make a frozen burrito in the oven, okay?
I I'd have to go. I'd go get a frozen burrito if that was my like intention and
Okay.
I wanted to do it. But yeah,
Okay, so if you wanted to do that, that would be your intention. What would be happening to your breath when you made that burrito?
maybe if I was like, I feel like I wouldn't be super excited about a frozen burrito. So I feel like like if it's supposed to be like my heart rate races a little bit because I'm like excited and I'm like I'm getting like excited to like have the burrito, then like that would be one thing. But I feel like for a frozen burrito, that's like a pretty sad burrito. Maybe if I was like
Okay.
behind like a really delicious like taco truck and they had like the
Okay.
best burritos and I was standing in line and I was like I hadn't eaten all day and maybe then I'd be like then maybe I would be that
Okay.
increased rate.
Uh, okay, so your breath might be changing, but your intention would be on the burrito and it wouldn't be on the breath. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what would be controlling the breath at that time?
I mean it would be like your brain function, right? And it driving you to it's like I think I've heard of this before. There's like an autopilot function. And like when you sleep too. Oh, otherwise, you'd have to think about constantly breathing.
Okay, so what part of the brain is it though?
Like you said, the brainstem, right?
Okay. But what happens when you have the intent to have deep breathing?
I guess then you're thinking about it. That's like in meditation, you're thinking about your breathing rather than letting it just autopilot. I guess rather than leaving it on autopilot. I guess it's like it's intentional breathing.
Okay, so your spleen, which is in charge of what?
Oh, intention, like you said,
Okay,
right? Yeah.
so your spleen can have an intention, right? And you noticed how your body might be acting differently depending on what intention you have. So there's this crazy feedback mechanism that can happen that if you have the intent to breathe, you can breathe, but when you're breathing and your diaphragm's coming down, what's happening to your spleen?
I'm assuming that well, I know you said it moves your liver as you
Hmm.
breathe. Does it? I don't know if the diaphragm moves or if it stays still. I'm assuming it moves.
Diaphragm's moving. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
this
Okay.
is. So it's
Does it?
moving this.
Does it get? Does it get happy like the like the liver does? Does it have the?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
The spleen gets very happy. You're able to have because it's happy. You're able to have clearer intentions. Okay, but also the spleen is in charge of intention, but it's also in charge of transformation, changing from one thing to another. And one of the things we transform a lot, there's actually two things. So the first thing we've been talking about a lot, there's transformation that happens when the diaphragm goes down as we breathe in. What's the transformation happening there?
Um. Like physically or like
Hmm.
I guess you're like at this point you're
Chemically, I guess
you're
it's chemically.
pushing out you're pushing out air like O2 is leaving.
You're breathing in
And you're
oxygen.
yeah. Well, wait, isn't this motion when you push out?
That's when you breathe in.
Oh, oh, you breathe in and then that pushes out. Okay. Yeah, so
Hmm.
you're taking in oxygen then at this point, the
Hmm. But
stage.
it's the transformation is kind of the exchange, like it's where the blood interfaces with the outside environment, and it's transforming the oxygen content of the blood. Okay, so there's that kind of transformation, right? But there's also when we're not breathing through this apparatus, what are we using our mouths for?
For for air intake.
No, when we're not breathing.
Oh, and what I mean, we're always technically breathing though, but I mean, I
What
guess
else is it? What else is it used for?
you could use it to speak. You could use it to talk as well.
Okay, so that's a form of transformation in terms of like you can communicate something to someone, and you can kind of like you can change the relationship. You can ask for directions. You can transform like what you're capable of doing using the breath. That's not what I'm talking about though, but that's fair too. What is something we have to do every day?
Oh, eat food.
Eat
Eat
food.
food.
Okay, so we eat the food. Where do we put the food?
We put it in our mouths. You have
Okay,
to chew.
and then what do we do?
You go
What is this called?
chew.
It's called mastication. Okay.
Masticate. Wait, is that like the medical term for that's the medical term for it. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
For
yes,
chewing.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. So mastication, what happens when you start to chew your food?
You like wait, like physically or like what happens cuz like I guess your jaw is just moving and it's chewing the food.
Okay, so feel underneath your jaw.
Okay.
Do you feel like some like bumps under here?
Yeah, yeah. I think
You'll
like
have your
there's
fingers.
Adam's apple down there, but then there's like
Okay,
the
but
lumps.
but like with your fingers like this, if you're just pushing upwards towards the top of your head, do you feel bumps in there?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So these are called salivary glands. Have you heard of these before?
Yeah. Okay, you're saying that we salivate as well while we're what was the medical term for chewing? Well, chewing. I guess chewing works too, but whenever I say
Starts
chewing,
starts with an M.
mastication.
Mastication. Boom.
Mastication. Okay,
Okay.
when you're masticating this food, but I mean, like chewing is like somewhat easier. Do like people in the medical field ever just be like, "Look, he's chewing food," or like he's got to chew his food?
Well, it's because it's funny because, um, yeah, they don't really freak out if you say that.
Okay.
But this muscle that comes, so there's a muscle that comes from like here, and it comes down to the corner of your jaw, and it's the main muscle of mastication, and it's got two heads. It's called masseter. Okay, so it's sometimes it helps to know the terminology. But anyway, you're chewing the food, right? These salivary glands are putting fluids up in there. So, what are the fluids designed to do?
Is it helps with digestion, doesn't it?
Okay, so where does digestion begin?
Isn't it like the whole process of it going through like small
Not the whole
intestine
process. Where does it start? Where does digestion start?
specifically? I mean, the most generalized answer that I could think of is like the stomach, But that's
No,
like such a
you
large
just
range area, right? Or
you just said the salivary glands are intended for what?
oh, digest. So I guess it technically starts from the moment that you start chewing your food as the whole
Mm,
process. Okay, okay,
yes.
okay.
Okay, so digestion starts in the mouth. So again, intent comes into play here. Can you explain to me what the whole purpose of digesting food is? Why are we digesting food?
Um, well, there's two that come to mind. There's the actual real answer, which is for nutrients, but the other answer is it tastes good.
Okay, but that's not digestion. And it's not a fake answer because there's actually chemicals and amino acids and digestive enzymes that are created when we taste food that we like and we taste food that we know is nourishing. Okay? So that's part of this digestive process. But pretty much what I was saying was that if we're breathing intentionally, our spleen is happy and we can have more intention. And therefore, the spleen's job of transformation can be done a lot more smoothly. So if the spleen's happy, we can do digestion better by being better at chewing our food. And this is something that's really important. The digestion begins in the mouth, and like the whole point of the digestion is to get nutrients. Yes. And that is to take the building blocks from the environment through plants or whatever else you eat, grains, you eat that and then it turns into your body. Okay. So we want to have the best digestion as possible. We want to have the best transformation process as possible so that our bodies can be the best versions of our bodies. Okay. Digestion starts in the mouth. Chewing the food is very important. You eat the food, it comes down through the throat. And then where does it go?
Then it goes. Well, then it's entering your stomach region. I guess that's general. That's a super general answer, but it
Okay,
like
yes. Okay, good. Goes down the esophagus. It passes through what to get to the stomach?
um, is it a digestive tract?
No, what is this? What have we been doing calling this?
Oh, diaphragm. Okay, it passes through the diaphragm. But
Right?
wait,
Because the mouth is on one side of the diaphragm and then the stomach's underneath the diaphragm. So the food has to go through the diaphragm, right?
actually, I'm curious about this. So the diaphragm, like, but does it touch the food at all? Like, I always thought that the diaphragm was separate. Like, it wouldn't.
No,
It
no.
didn't.
It doesn't touch the food. But you can imagine you know what the esophagus is, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the tube where the food comes down. The esophagus is this pipe and it just comes and it goes straight through the diaphragm.
Okay, okay.
Okay? And it comes down to the stomach. Okay? So now again, we can see now we have the diaphragm, right? So what is digestion?
What is digestion? I
Yeah.
thought it was the whole process though. Like you were saying, like you chew your food, then your food goes down your esophagus, then
But
it ends
what
up in the
is it?
digestive tract.
What is happening to like the object that you have ingested? What is happening to it during digestion?
Isn't it just like the process of breaking it down, like the food's getting broken down into nutrients that your body can distribute, right?
Yes. And so what are the two ways that you can break down something in the human body? I guess there's three ways. What are the three ways?
Well, I know there's like you have like your well we talked about the chewing of the food, right?
Okay, so through physical means, yes. And
Uh,
what?
the most common one that I know is just stomach acid. Like you have like
Okay,
stomach acid that breaks down food.
You can do it chemically, and also
Physically, chemically. Trying to think of what else the body.
there's these catalysts for breaking down things. I guess I always am thinking about breaking down proteins, but there's these catalysts that are produced definitely in the liver, possibly elsewhere in the body, but there's these enzymes that help break down food. And it's kind of chemically, but it's not basically like you have stomach acid, right? I think it's hydrochloric acid, hydrochloric acid, sulfur. Yeah, one of the acids. Like it's literally just like the pH of the stomach acid like breaks it down chemically. But these enzymes are like they're basically like these special keys that the body creates that help like unlock a bunch of like nutrients out of the food. So all three things like this are happening during the digestive process. I think most specifically in the stomach, we have what was the first one you said
Um.
for what aids in digestion?
Oh, like yeah, stomach acid.
No, you said
Oh, chewing food. Like yeah, like the physical means. Yeah.
okay, physical means. Now, the stomach itself has 3 layers of muscle, which is arranged in different patterns around the stomach. So, like, one of the things the stomachs can do is squish down in all directions to mush and smash up the food more. Okay. So it has 3 layers of muscle to squeeze and contract. But the more movement, the better, okay, when we're in this refining process. So when we take a deep breath, what's happening to the stomach?
Oh, it's compressing it. Like the I'm assuming since everything else, it's like it's moving everything.
Yes, you're helping aid the digestion by breathing.
Okay.
Okay. Also, once the so you have the stomach, right? It comes down, there's a top portion, it goes down to the middle portion, and then there's the bottom portion. And then there's a kind of like this, it's called a pyloric sphincter. It's kind of like where the food exits the stomach and then goes into the next part of the digestive tract. Where is this? Where's the next part of the digestion?
Wait, so we've gone through what part of the
We just okay, we are still in the stomach. I was saying there's the different parts of the stomach, right?
yeah.
There's a fundus. The fundus I think is the top of the stomach. It goes all the way down to the bottom of the stomach, and that's called the pyloric sphincter.
Okay.
So that's the end of the stomach. Now what's beyond the stomach?
Aren't we moving into like the intestines? Like
Yes. Yes.
small intestine and then large intestine?
Yes. Yes. So they call them there's like the beginning of the small intestine is called the duodenum. Okay, it's just a silly name. But this is where some crazy shit starts to happen. This is where a lot of those enzymes start to just come out. So we've broken up the food, right? And we've done some extraction of like nutrients in the stomach, but that's not really what it's built for. The small intestine is really where we're extracting all these nutrients. So once we get out of the stomach into the small intestine, we're relying heavily on these enzymes to break down the food and for it to be extracted out. So where did I say that the digestive enzymes were created?
Oh shoot.
Uh, da, 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 da. They're okay. They're developed in lots and lots of places,
Lots
but
of
the
places.
stomach, small intestine, and the pancreas create digestive enzymes, as well as the liver doing an important part of digestion as well. So it enters into the small intestine. you get this rush of enzymes from all these different places. Now, it just so happens that all these places where they are created are sitting just below the diaphragm. So, therefore, breathing not only helps with the physical means, right, through the squishing, but it also is now improving the function of all these enzymatic creators in this upper portion of the abdominal region.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because the enzymes are just like the little keys, right? And the organs get happy when they get moved. It's like a nice little massage.
Okay.
Okay. There's this other thing that aids with digestion called bile. Okay. Bile. What is bile?
That sounds familiar.
Okay, so bile is really important for breaking down fats. Now, I think we talked about enzymes and breaking down proteins, but fats are one of the three main components of foods. We have fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Have you heard of those three?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, carbohydrates are easily broken down. Enzymes break down the proteins. Okay. Bile is produced in the liver and then it gets stored in the gallbladder. The gallbladder is just this tiny little, really cool organ that sits inside of the liver as a storage container for bile. When you breathe, the liver moves, it's happy, it can produce bile, and also breathing allows the gallbladder to excrete the bile more easily.
What if what if someone has like a low fat diet? How does that like or like I guess even if they're missing like any number of nutrients, um then those specific I don't know what a broad name for them would be, but I guess chemicals that that your body is producing, they just sit around, right? They wouldn't go to use as much, I suppose, because everyone has to have a certain percent of like everything, for the most part in their diet. I guess everything has a trace amount of carbohydrates, fats, just to varying degrees, kind of.
Yeah, so the body's really resilient. It can exist in a lot of different conditions, and everybody's body has the propensity to need more things than other. Like it's just all the bodies are efficient in different ways. So if somebody were deficient in fats through their diet, their body would adapt to using less fats as part of their entire energy expenditure system. So therefore, it would require less fats, and it would just adapt to that new way of living.
Is that why people like they go on these like crazy diets where they cut something out of their system, they lose a bunch of weight, and then when they try to introduce it back in, all of a sudden like they gain a ton of weight because now their body is like adapted to like they're not producing that, say like they cut out fat and they cut out all like fatty foods and now they're not producing bile. Is there like some connection or
I would say that that person has probably a food addiction, and it's equally a physical problem as well as a psychological problem. And as we're tracing this down through digestion, I think the psychological problem is kind of a divergence, although the psychological problem can impede this entire system, um, and can be resolved through having intentional breathing. So is it's definitely related, but kind of like the yo-yo thing with diets and stuff, like I don't think it's the body adapting and then not being capable of like taking on those foods anymore and freaking out. I think it's like the relationship to food and sorts of like all their interaction people have with like sorts of substance abuse problems or addictions to social media or drugs and alcohol. Like a lot of people will have their first addiction be food, they'll move on to other addictions that are more easily will affect your life in a negative way, vis-a-vis alcohol, drugs, pornography, um, crime. Dude, you can be addicted to all sorts of things. But taking it from that place, it I think a lot of that is just like a representation of addiction that's more subtle and more integrated into daily life, you know? Like you got to eat. So how can you abstain from that addiction, you know? They try by going on the diet, but the diet, like we said, like you're missing key ingredients. And then once you start to get those ingredients, your body's really going to be craving those. And then it freaks out, you know, because it wants to be into balance.
Okay, yeah. But the overall, like, your body, I guess I'm mainly wondering, overall, your body doesn't, like, shift production in, like, these enzymes or bile depending on what your diet is, or does
No, it
it?
does.
It
It
does,
does.
okay, okay.
Hmm. Yeah, and I was just looking this up. I said this wrong. So enzymes help speed up reactions in the body. They're not specifically to break down proteins. So I wanted to clarify that.
Okay, okay.
So anyway, the bile is created by the liver. The liver is happy because of the breathing. The gallbladder squirts the bile into the duodenum, where all this other enzymatic reactions and absorption is happening in the duodenum in the small intestine. All of that stuff is happening in this upper portion of your abdomen. So we want that to be moving, dude, because that's the reaction. That's where all the juice is being poured in to allow us to extract that food, the nutrients, because what's happening to the nutrients?
Aren't they being, like, distributed, like, throughout the body, right?
Yes. So what happens? What happens to those nutrients? Where do they go? You have this.
That,
So we're in the duodenum. It's the small intestine. It's a tube. It's got multi layers of like sort of skin tissue, as well like fluid producing glands to allow the food to move through nicely. But there's also like muscular tissue around to do what's called peristalsis, which like moves the intestines that helps push the food down. There's also like tiny little holes for like the extraction of the nutrients, and it pulls the nutrients out of the food. Okay, so it goes through the walls of the small intestine, and then where does it go?
I'd assume, like, isn't it into your, like, bloodstream? Like, it's like your blood is, like, partially what distributes yeah, nutrients throughout your body.
Yes. So it goes to the bloodstream. So so and the bloodstream goes to every single cell in our body. Because cells can't survive without what?
Nutrients,
Nutrients, oxygen. Yes.
oxygen, yeah.
The story gets a little bit more boring at the end of this, but basically, the whole thing we were talking about was what?
Like broadly, like, well, breathing. We started with breathing.
Okay. And then what's this? What's this thing sitting right next to the stomach?
The diaphragm.
Okay. The diaphragm. Okay. What's the big one sitting over here?
Then we got the liver.
Okay. And then right next to the stomach is
Cervix.
no, the cervix is what separates the uterus from the vagina.
Oh, um,
So here, check this out.
what? Oh, what is that
It starts
again?
with a it starts
It
with an
sounds
S.
like that.
No, it doesn't.
No, okay. It doesn't rhyme
Starts
with,
with an
like,
S. It starts with an S.
an S. It's intention.
Yes.
The, But see how I thought like cervix because like a C, but but it's spleen. The spleen.
Spleen.
The spleen.
Okay. Spleen is an intention and
Intention and
changing from one thing to another. It's mediating digestion.
Transportation.
Transformation.
Transformation.
That's what all of digestion is in the spleen rules transformation. We put the food in our mouth, we chew it, it's already transforming down through the diaphragm into the stomach. The stomach squishes it up and adds acids. Also, the breathing helps with the transformation. It goes out through the pyloric sphincter into the duodenum, which is the upper portion of the small intestine. Then, the pancreas and the stomach and the small intestine are producing enzymes that help break down the foods. We also have the liver, which is creating bile, which goes into the gallbladder. The gallbladder also shoots shoots bile across into the duodenum with bile, which helps break down lipids. Once all that's broken down, throughout the entire process of the small intestine, it's doing that breaking down and that extraction. Okay, it's really doing a lot of transformation from food into energy, and it's literally turning into human body cells through this whole process. It's so cool what the spleen does. All of there, once it gets into the large intestine and it crosses this part of the body called the cecum, but it's also where the appendix sits, is directly between where the small intestine and the large intestine meet. And then the large intestine, what a lot of the large intestine is doing is it is sucking all the viable water out of this waste, and that is returning back to the body to be recycled because it doesn't want to waste any water. And then it gets excreted out of the body. All the stuff that the body did not want from that food comes out as waste. And that's the purest version of transformation that we can see is in the splitting of this food object into waste and into the human body. And we can see how intention is very important for this whole process.
It's interesting because like some of this stuff is like I recognize it as like review from like biology, some of it, but other parts of it like I do not think in biology I was ever told about how breathing helps with digestion. I don't think that was actually ever explained to me. I think like we talked about like where the food goes. We talked a little bit about like nutrient digestion. But we did not talk about how breathing also like moves your like your liver, moves your spleen, moves your like digestive tract and helps, you know, push food and process it. It's interesting that that's never there's no mention of breathing very much.
I know, dude. It's kind of it's starting to become more exciting in terms of you know, teaching practical stuff as well as teaching like the basic science, right? Because they're less teaching about practical things, but it's happening, and that's honestly undeniable. That stuff that I just shared.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing is that like
breathing.
The breathing thing is like something that like, you know, can easily be like can be monitored and you could see how it helps with digestion. It's crazy that I mean maybe I'm forgetting it, but I really I do not think that was ever explained to me in biology. I don't think that was ever brought up.
Okay. So, we can see okay, this is just going to be the last part of this. This has been quite an extensive portrayal of the lungs, and we just we're gonna do a little bit of Tai Chi here at the end, but this is the whole thing to talk about why we're doing Tai Chi. Okay.
Okay.
So just remembering about the seat, though, angling back and forward and finding those ischium bones and just feeling good that we can twist and stuff. So
Actually, I have to see if I can still. I think I'm still. No, I think maybe I'm arching my back a little bit. I think I'm doing good. I think.
okay,
I think
nice.
so. Sitting down, I feel like it limits your like turning ability a little bit, right? More than if you're standing up to some degree. Maybe I don't
Yeah, a
know.
little bit. How about this? Just do the this seemed to be something that you would notice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Feeling good? Okay, now just check the twist from there.
Okay. Yeah. 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 That's good. That's good.
Okay. So we can see that the breathing is very important for all these digestive processes, but the digestive processes are just the mechanism through which we started to understand how the breath really impacts our physical body and how our physical body gets transformed out of food. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
So, in this Chinese medicine, which is where Tai Chi really originated, every single thing that exists, mental, physical, or spiritual, is made out of Qi. Okay. Qi is everything. Okay. It's Qi is everything. Is that have you heard anything like that before?
I've heard of chi before. But yeah, I don't think I've had like an in-depth explanation. So no. Yeah.
Okay. So like anything that can be conceived of or experienced is made out of Qi. When we talk about the human body, we talk about Qi transformation. And this is what we just talked about in terms of like, if something has energy, it's made out of Qi. And we were just saying, like, let's say you ate some grapes. Grapes are made out of Qi, and it's a more substantial form of Qi than perhaps the oxygen that we're breathing in, right? So there's varying degrees of Qi that we can interface with, and they have different effects on us. But let's say we eat the grapes. This whole process that we talked about, the breathing impacting the digestion, this is called Qi transformation. Okay? The grapes get turned into our bodies. So that's the movement of Qi in sort of like a functional way, like chemicals changing and like this process of this physical thing moving. But there's also a bunch of processes that are less physical that are still mediated by Qi. So like we were just saying earlier, how our breath moved the deoxygenated blood back, the blue blood, we moved that back to our hearts, right? So that's the movement of Qi. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. You're basically you're saying that something that like physical is going on, like that interaction, is also embodied by the definition of chi.
Yes, because blood is made out of Qi, since everything is made out of Qi. And the breathing is what allows the blood to go back to the heart and recirculate and interface with new oxygen inside of our lungs. So the breathing is what allows our blood to get oxygen again. So that's another form of Qi transformation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So there's another kind of Qi called Wei Qi. Wei Qi. And so the Wei Qi is kind of like this protective layer on our bodies and it covers it like covers the layer of skin around our whole body. It's called the Wei Qi. So through the practice of Tai Chi and through the practice of intentional breathing, we can get in tuned with our Wei Qi. Okay. So it's a way of learning about Qi through learning the physical sensations of Qi through our Wei Qi. So have you ever had people like, like go ahead and like rub your hands together like this?
Um, I've like rubbed my hands together before. I don't know if I've ever had like somebody like grab two of my hands and like
No, do that. Do that.
okay.
And then rub your hands together for a few seconds.
But it's
Okay.
gonna like get hotter, right? It's
Yeah.
supposed to like generate a
And then do this
friction.
where you're like turning your hand like this. Do it with both hands. Okay. This is going to make the blood rush to the hands. Okay. And then what you can do is you can put your hands out in front of you. Describe how your hands are feeling right now.
Feels more definitely a little bit more like what do you call that? Like air. You get that like tingly sensation. You know what I mean? When like blood rushes really quickly to your hands. Yeah.
Yes. The tingling sensation, that is a Qi awareness right there. Okay. So the whole idea is to learn to feel the Qi so that you can learn about how Qi works and to understand Qi.
Okay.
Okay. So here's one of the exercises we do. This one is called Kai He, which in Chinese just means open and close. So we're going to be here, okay, in the good seat. And then we're going to breathe in, and our arms are going to open up. Okay, then we're going to breathe out, and arms are going to close. So our arms are mimicking what is happening to our diaphragm. So we breathe in, our whole body opens up. Breathe out, our hands come closer together. Okay. And you can just have your focus have your like a soft gaze be like on your hands. Because wherever you look is where your Qi gets directed. Okay. And then we'll just do like a little bit of this. So this is just have your palms facing one another. And this is just feeling for the Qi while we're still doing like intentional breathing. So while you're doing this and you're doing the breathing, you are aiding in digestion of your body. And so the more relaxed you can be and the more attentive and awareness you can have on your whole entire body sensations, the more you can feel what digestion feels like, or the more you can feel what movement looks like. And all those things are really good for your brain and really good for your body, for you to have awareness of your different functions.
I've only had a bar today.
Yeah, well, you are still digesting that. Okay, you can start going the other way.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. Then here, just kind of coming in and out. You feeling anything in your hands?
I think so. Yeah, I still feel like the same feeling from like the you know, your the what do you call that? The when we were like shaking our hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit lesser, but still, yeah, still like the blood
Okay.
rush.
Try this. So breathe in like drawing in fresh chi through the top of your head. Breathe it in. There's a sac around your heart called the pericardium. So breathe in fresh chi. Take a deep breath to your pericardium, and then breathe out and shoot it down your hand, and then make it come out the palm of your hands while you're doing this exercise. Breathe out. How are you doing with that?
I think pretty good. My mic's a little bit in the way, so I feel like
Just
constricted
scoot
in
your
my
chair back a
space.
little bit.
What's that? Oh, yeah, okay, okay. Here we go. That's much better. Again, I still have like wires attached to me.
So remember, we're breathing in through the. Keep going with the hands.
All right.
So we're breathing in through the top of our head, down our necks, into the sac that surrounds the heart. And then we're distributing that chi down the arms, through the palm of the hands. There's a point right here. If you make a soft fist, right where your middle finger is, this is called Lao Gum. Okay. This is a really important point in Chinese medicine. So you're breathing through and it's coming out of this hand. And this is like directing the environmental chi through the palm of your hand. Okay. And you're pointing these 2 points at each other. The Lao
Okay.
Gum points, they're pointing at each other. All right. How are your hands feeling?
Pretty good, I think. Yeah.
Is it any different since you've been doing the breathing, the intentional breathing?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. It, I think I
Try
feel it
that.
more so in this hand than this hand.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how about this? Hands a little closer together. Just tiny, tiny little movements.
Do you want smaller breaths or same amount of breaths?
Same breaths.
Okay.
Okay. And then how about this? We'll just do one hand on top. And then we'll go around the sides like this. Just imagine like there's a little ball in front of you. Okay, hold it here. Now what you're gonna do, breathe through the top of your head down to just below your belly button. Okay. And then from there, breathe out through on the bottom of your foot. This is called the bubbling well point. So you have like the kind of rougher skin here, and it kind of makes like an arch. On the soft skin just below the arch, this is called the bubbling well point. Okay. And this is really a really important point. Breathe through the crown of the head to the dantian, which is just below the belly button, and then out the bottom of the bubbling well points.
Do I
Okay.
want like feet off the ground? And also, I have socks on.
No, you can do it with shoes. It doesn't matter.
But even like
Okay.
my feet can be like on the ground as well, right? Like it could be like firmly. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just take that, have the chi go through to the dantian on the in breath, and then breathe out any excess energy that you don't need, and just send it down into the earth, and then it'll be recycled.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Same position here. Okay.
Okay, I can go ahead and relax, and we'll just do these circles like this. Breathing in, and then breathing out. I'm gonna do 3, so another one. And another one. Okay. Thank you for your practice of Tai Chi. And how you doing, dude?
Pretty good. Like I can see why a lot of people go and do that. That's almost like has a meditative kind of feeling to it.
Yeah.
I wonder like cuz I can't remember. I think I looked into what Tai Chi was at some point, and I always like thought that it was I knew that there was something to do with like kind of like meditative properties, but I also like always like for some reason had this idea that it was also like a well martial arts is really broad, but there was also like what like is there like a fighting like mechanism to it, or is that just like or a defense? It's defense, I guess. Defense is the more proper word,
It
but a
has a
defense.
history of a martial application, yeah. What we were
Okay.
doing was more sort of like qigong kind of stuff, because qigong is like the bedrock which Tai Chi and a lot of other martial arts was built on top of. So like this would be this is like more of like a Tai this is more like a Tai Chi move. Um like we could have here shifting the weight, pressing. So this would be like a strike to the chest, and then you might do like a split, and then here would be like throwing throwing somebody over your leg, and then it would be like this would be one of the movements. And like each one of these would have a martial application, but we're doing it for health.
Okay. It's that like that next step that that turns it into a martial arts like style as well, right?
What next step?
It's like the application of when people start using it for like martial arts purposes is when it like when the application changes.
Yeah, it's based on what?
Intention, spleen.
It depends on what you intend to use it for.
Okay, yeah. Cause yeah, I was always like confused about that because like I think like I I of course haven't known a lot about Tai Chi. But I've seen like you see like sometimes people like they have like practice sessions like you'll have like a like you know the classic like imaginative like you know you see like the motions like done by like an instructor in like a park with a group of people or something, right? But then you also like see it described as like a martial arts. So that's interesting. It's almost like it depends on the application or the intention. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So I was thinking about doing like a little like online sort of Tai Chi class. I wonder if you'd be interested in that.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
Okay. Um, would you be able to attend on your laptop? Because does that have speakers or um, because
My
it's not ideal to have it on the with headphones, I guess.
my other laptop doesn't have a camera, like a working camera, but the new one that I've got for school, that one is like completely dilapidated. The other one, it like makes a loud noise too. It's super obnoxious. It's super old at this point. But I think the I have one for school. It's really cheap, but I think the camera works on it, so I think that would be ideal. I think that could work.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna ask around and see who else might be interested in doing that. Um, but yeah, maybe just like some sort of like weekly thing, or yeah, I'd be interested in teaching that, and you know, it's it's pretty fun, dude.
It is. It's kind of like yeah, it's relaxing. It's nice too. It does have like a meditative property to it. You know, I feel like it helps like whenever you're like focusing on your breathing, it kind of helps clear the it helps clear the mind when you're focusing on something else.
Yes, I like that. I can't believe we're still on the episode, dude. It just feels like
Yeah, what let's see how long we've been going. We've been getting some long episodes
140.
recently. Yeah,
What is it,
140.
140?
Yeah.
Nice.
We've been getting some long episodes in the few recent ones we've done.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, I was talking for most of that one, but I feel like that was pretty educational. I feel like,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt like it to me. I
Cool.
enjoy the education mechanism in there too. I
Cool.
I'm like today like I'm actually happy you did like an educational thing cuz I've been completely wiped. I've been like I have finals coming up, so I don't know if you can tell by like the I don't know if the rings can be seen under my eyes, the purpleness, but I've been pulling the long nights.
All right, dude. Well, I'm glad it worked out for both of us, and this is this is another one. This is another one that I've been doing.
Is it better to stand?
Um, yeah, it is.
Can I still be heard from here in my microphone?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Might be a
Okay,
little bit
so
quieter.
like the general standing position for, um, I guess qigong, but also tai chi is the you can do the stomping now to kind of just find your stance,
Okay.
but it's usually kind of like shoulder width and like the toes mostly pointing forwards, and then you have like bent knees. You can find your seat from this position, tucking forward and backward, right? And then you can do the like little balloon head, okay?
All right.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to raise the hands up in front of us, breathing in. Okay, once you get to the chest height, turn the palms towards the floor, extend out in front of you with your intention. So imagine your fingers going miles and miles outside of your apartment. Okay, now when you breathe out, your hands just kind of imagine like you're touching a curved surface as you relax, and you come back to here.
Mike is in the way.
So we're going to do it one more time. Bring the hands up facing each other, breathing in. Once you get to the chest, palms face down, extend. When you do this extension, can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're coming up like this. You don't need to turn.
Okay,
I'm just showing you. When I push forward, see what happens to my low back here.
Okay.
When I extend, my low back goes back because you need to have an equal and opposite reaction.
Okay. So kind of like that.
Yep. but we're not gonna go too far. You see how my elbows are still bent?
Mm? Oh. Okay.
Because this did originate as a martial arts form. So imagine like if you were like this, how easy it might be for someone to like throw you off balance.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Okay, so you always want to stay within your comfortable range. So we'll come back down to the start.
Okay.
Breathing in, palms facing. Chest tight, palms face the floor. Extend with your intention out to the horizon. Low back moves away. Breathing out, hands drop, touching a curved, imagine you're touching a curved surface. And coming back up to standing.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to do one more. Breathing in, arms come up. This is where the palms face. So remember the Lao Gom points?
Yeah. Oh, they face each other.
Yes, as the hands come up. Extend out. Breathing out. Hands come down. Okay, then shift the weight into your right foot. Step your feet together. Right fist comes up. Left fist comes on top. And then this is like just a little bow to close. All right.
Very cool.
I'm gonna I gotta go pee.
All right. I'm probably gonna take off here. I gotta get back to my finals.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay, okay. So you meant the
Yeah.
same thing. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for the instruction. I can't see. Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone has joined as of yet. But
Damn it.
again, you never know. Someone might stumble across this, and they'll learn something. They'll learn some Tai Chi.
Ah, damn. Okay, dude. Yeah, good luck on your finals. And
Thanks.
is it next week?
Yeah, it's next week, and then I'm done. Finally, I'm out.
So possibly on next week, or I mean, are you gonna still be good for Friday?
Yeah, I will be. I found out my final schedule. Luckily, my finals are done before Friday, so I'll actually have
dope.
that day cleared.
Okay, cool. I'll see you then.
Awesome. I'll see you next week.
Okay, peace.
All right. Adios.